Hi, I'm Joe Rotella, and this is Molding 101 with amazing casting products by Alumilite that make mold making and casting super easy. Have you ever come across the perfect shape, the perfect texture, the perfect embellishment, but you need more than one and you've only got one? Or maybe you want that shape in a different material, or maybe the piece you have is too precious to use in a project, but a replica would work just as well. In those situations, molding and casting is the way to go. And you're ready to start making your own molds so you can make your own reproductions. You don't have to be a professional to get professional results with your molds. And you can make molds of any size, weight, or shape with amazing molding products by Alumilite. Alumilite offers 3 mold making materials: amazing mold putty, amazing remelt, and amazing mold rubber. Each one has unique characteristics. If you understand those characteristics, you'll know how to select the right material for your project. Let's start with amazing mold putty. This is a 2-part silicone putty that cures in about 20 minutes. It's extremely easy to use. Just hand mix equal amounts of the yellow and the white putty together in your hands until you have a consistent color. Then press that putty around the piece you want to mold and let it cure for about 20 minutes. The end result is a flexible rubber mold with exact detail. It is the best product for making quick molds for resin, plaster, polymer clay, wax, soap, and so much more. And because it's FDA compliant, you can use it to mold chocolate, butter, and fondant. We could take this little metal owl, make a mold, and then pour chocolate and end up with little chocolate owls. Since this is so easy to mix and doesn't require any special tools or mold containers and cures fast, it's perfect to take with you anywhere, just in case you find the perfect piece to mold. I know more than one artist who keeps containers of this with them at all times, even in small containers like contact lens cases, so they can make molds when they see things out in public, even on cruise ships. If you want to make molds fast, even on the go, amazing mold putty is right for you. Next up, we have amazing remelt. What makes this so amazing? Well, it can be remelted and reused to make new molds time and time again. It's ideal for making molds for smaller items, such as jewelry embellishments, and even chocolate and fondant, since it's also FDA compliant. These molds can be used with low exotherm resins or room temperature castings. Simply melt amazing remelt in your microwave for a couple minutes, or in a double boiler, pour it into a mold that has your original in it. Once it cools, you're ready to pop it out and use your new mold. I made this molding container from a piece of plexiglass, hot glued to a little piece of plastic. And then I put the piece in it that I want to mold. Melt the material, pour it in, let it cool completely, and then you can take this out. Now, if it's a little bit tight, don't worry, because it's so flexible, you're not going to tear it. And to get it started, well, it's almost like taking a muffin out of a muffin tin, right? You go all the way around it with something flat, then you can grab in there, flex it out, but you're good to go. When you're done with this mold, you can remelt it and use the material again and again and again. If you think you're only going to use a mold once and have access to a way to melt it, then amazing remelt is the way to go. Look at this little cicada. I love it, but I only had one. I needed several for a project, so I used amazing remelt, poured it, molded it, ended up with this flexible mold, and then I could cast it several times. And remember, FDA compliant, I could even have little chocolate bugs if I wanted. This piece is one of a kind. It's a little bit precious to me, and I was afraid to use it on a project. So again, made a mold, casted it, and I could make as many as I'd like. I could paint it and so on. Mold is completely flexible. When I'm done with it, throw it in a container, melt it again, reuse it. And finally, there's amazing mold rubber. This is an extremely flexible liquid silicone rubber that reproduces the exact detail and sheen of your original. It's really a production grade material. It's great for pouring one-piece molds with undercuts, requiring a strong, flexible material for demolding parts or for making complex multiple-piece molds. And here's a tip. Vaseline works as an excellent mold release when making multiple-piece molds. Amazing Mold Rubber is very easy to use. It doesn't require degassing, and it can be demolded in as little as 2 to 4 hours. Take your original and put it in an appropriate container to mold. You want maybe 1/4 of an inch around your piece and maybe 1/2 an inch above it. Again, I'm using a piece of plexiglass that's been hot glued to a piece of corrugated plastic. Once that's in there, mix the catalyst with the base and then slowly pour it into your container. Its consistency is similar to that of maple syrup, so it'll flow in and around all the complex undercuts and capture every detail. Let it cure and you're ready to roll. Here's a mold we made of a little rabbit. You can see how flexible it is and all the detail in there, and then look at the little rabbits that came out. Similarly, this bear, this is a rather large mold, super flexible. Once it's been casted, there's enough detail there to see the hairs on that bear. And these 1950s seahorses, totally cool, I love them. I'm eager to cast them in a clear resin, maybe embed some mica in it, and I can do this over and over again and capture every single detail of that seahorse. You can use these molds with resin, wax, soap, plaster, polymer clay, and more. There you have it. Amazing Mold Putty. 2-part silicone putty you mix together that cures in about 20 minutes. Amazing Remelt. 1-part reusable mold making material you can use over and over again. And amazing Mold Rubber. Professional grade silicone rubber molds that reproduce incredible detail. 3 amazing mold making materials proudly made in the USA by Alumilite. Mold making made easy.